Hey you all, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all, and I invite y'all to come on in and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and also let me know how you're doing by dropping a mirror emoji in the chat if you are a one. Y'all, I just have to say happy holidays to everybody. I hope you all had a great time with family and friends. I did, but I also suffered a loss. And a very dear friend of mine that was just like family. So that's kind of why I've been absent. But nevertheless, I'm here and I'm doing good. I'm gonna make it. So anyways, we're gonna keep moving, and we are doing our Flix Friday. So I'm a couple of days behind. But you all know what's going on. I just let you in on it. So let's just get into it. So what are y'all watching? What have you all watched? Let me know. Put it in the chat, the comments. Like, let me know so I can check it out too. And I'm going to tell y'all what I've been watching. So first up is Troll. It's a movie on Netflix. And it's basically about this big troll. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. A troll that lived in the Norwegian mountains. Like if he was bent over, he looked like he was one of the mountains. And so he starts popping up, and people are starting to notice him, see him. And so the higher ups there get this paleontologist to help them figure out what this creature is, what's going on, how can they, get rid of it, so to speak. And long story short, like, her father had been into all these myths and legends and fairy tales. And when she was a little girl, he told her that, there's truth to all that if you only believe or whatever. And so now as an adult, she's kind of thinking, well, there may be some truth to all of those things that my father was telling me about. And so she's trying to tell the people that this is a troll, but in PC terms, and her dad just like, no, it's a troll. It is what it is. It's a troll, and yada, yada, yada. And so just going off of the fairy tales and the trolls and how they're affected, she figures out how to get rid of the troll. But then they tried to get their armed forces to take it out. It wasn't working. It was just a mess, y'all. And so in the end, she figures out how to take out the troll. And they realize that the troll is back because its whole entire family had been killed off, and the bones were still nestled under cave in this castle or whatever. And so she ends up, like I said, figuring out how to take it out. And when they get ready to take the thing on out, she all of a sudden, no, you can't do it. This isn't right. And so she tries to save the troll, y'all. And I'm just like, oh, child, it's too much. It's too much. But anyway, she's not able to save the troll. The troll dies, and that was it on that. And things went back to normal, right? But yeah, it was an okay movie. I wouldn't definitely say you gotta go out of your way to watch it. It's not like it's a must see, but kind of like once you start, you be like, let me just go and finish. You know what I'm saying? It does get pretty cheesy towards the end, but yeah. And I don't think, and I didn't go back and double check, but I was just looking at the mouths and stuff. I don't think it was originally in English. Don't quote me on that, but Yeah, I think those were like voiceovers. But anyways, so that was that. It's on Netflix. Not a must see in my opinion, but you may enjoy it. It wasn't just horrible, like, but yeah. Next was Elves. Now that is a mini series. It's also on Netflix. And basically there's this family of four and they're taking a vacation out somewhere. off by itself, just and so while they're there, the little girl finds this little baby elf. The elf looks like, I don't know, do y'all remember that movie Coneheads? I think it came out in like the 90s or whatever. But they had these big cone heads. That's what the elf looked like. When I saw, I was just like, what in the world? But yeah. So she finds a little baby elf. She takes it from its home, which makes all the adult elves angry, right? And so she hides it at their little vacation home, and she's going out feeding it. She realizes that it likes meat, and so her brother finds out about the elf. Her brother's older than her, and so he's just like, look, this is not a good idea. Then he ends up spotting like a dead cat in the barn where she's hiding the elf, and it's like all gutted up. So he's just like, look, this ain't what you want. This is not what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? He eats meat, which means it's gonna eventually come and try to eat you or whatever. And so, yeah, it was not a good look. And so ends up makes the adult elves angry, and they kind of break loose and they start killing all the people around, and it was a mess. But the girl and her brother and her parents end up surviving in the long run. And so the little girl is just like, all of this is my fault. All of this is my fault. And so the people native to the land, they know about the elves. They have like this symbiotic relationship with them. Like they live in harmony. Like the elves, they have behind this locked electronic gate, and they go on about their lives, but they feed the elves, on a regular. And so, but the elves will still kill them, you know what I'm saying? And so there's this older lady who also has a granddaughter the same age as the son of the visiting family. And so, of course, they kind of get googly-eyed all over each other, the granddaughter and the boy that's there visiting with his family or whatever. And so, the granddaughter tries to convince the grandmother, because they hold this hell meeting, y'all. They just basically like, nah, we got to take out these visitors. They ain't doing right. Y'all know what we got to do. We need to feed them to the elves. And so the granddaughter convinces, or tries to convince her grandmother to help the visitors, because the little girl, she was bad, y'all. She would have got... but had to shake her like so she goes into the fence to get the little elf, right? Because they had found the little elf, taking it back to the big elves where it belongs. And so the little girl trying to go after the elf, she almost get herself ate up by one of the big elves, and she ends up putting it through a saw, killing it. And so now she done made them all angry. So they just they just trying to kill the people left and right? The elves are. And so the grandmother realizes that they're after the little girl. And she's just like, what did you do? And the little girl said, I didn't mean after me, and so the little saw was right there, and they fell on it, and I just turned it on, and the little girl was bad. So the grandma was like, okay, I got you. I know how we're going to fix this. And so she takes the little girl back to the woods where the elves lives, and she ties her up, and she leaves. Like, she's just like trying to sacrifice the little girl, basically. So they all looking for the little girl, and they eventually find her. They rescue her. And I mean, they're like running against the clock, trying to get her and get back out of the fence before the older elves, the grown elves, come and eat them up too. You know what I'm saying? And this doggone little girl, she ain't learned her lesson yet. She still gonna turn around, go back, try to get the little baby elf. I'm just like, do you not understand what is going on? You already talking about, it's my fault. All these people are dying. Yeah. And you still trying to wreak some more havoc. You better to get them killed while they trying to save your little butt. And then you still trying to take one that's going to grow up to be one of them. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. But in the end, they save her. And y'all, the grandma did not want them to save her. Grandma popped up out of nowhere, had that gun held up to them, told them to leave her alone. And end up, Elves came out and got her butt instead. And so the family was able to get out. And the granddaughter ended up leaving out with the family when they went back home. And that was pretty much how it ended. So it was that's just another one that was just okay. It took me a while to finish watching it. Like I said, it was a mini series. I think I maybe about 6 episodes, and I think I kind of watched like the first 4, 3.5, and then it just took me about a week to come back and pick it up and finish watching it, because it was just like, okay, this is getting crazy. It's just ridiculous. And it was like another one that had like those voiceovers. It was not originally in English, I don't think. But yeah, so that was that. That's that on there. Check it out if you want. I would say skip it. It wasn't much to see, not to me anyways. So let's see what is next on the list. What is next? Flix Friday. Oh, Hope Frozen. Okay. Now this was pretty interesting, y'all. So Hope Frozen, it's like a documentary. It's also on Netflix. It's called Hope Frozen, A Quest to Live Twice. So basically it follows this family of 4 who mom, dad, older brother, and baby girl. So the baby girl had been diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, brain cancer. And so it got to the point where they knew she was about to die. And the dad decided to freeze her, so that the hope was in the future, once technology advanced, then they would be able to bring her back to life and she could live a full life, fully healed. So what they did was, when she died, like, it had to be like an immediate process. Like, they didn't do it while she was living. And that was initially what I was thinking, like, oh, they're gonna do this while the baby is still living, you know. But they do it like immediately. Like, it's only like a small time frame that you could get things done. So they had like everybody on board, like people flew in so they could make sure, you know, this happened. And so when she passed away, they immediately started the process, and they froze her. And so her body and stuff is here in the U.S. And So the dad has just been working, like he has samples of her tissues, her cells. Um, he's just working endlessly to try to find a cure. And so now the son, there seemed to be kind of a big age gap between the son and the daughter, right? Because he's pretty much grown, and now he's kind of taken upon that quest himself as well to find a cure, going into the science field, you know. And they, they said they don't know if it'll ever be in their lifetime. They do realize that, but that is their hope. And so they have her body frozen, and they've made like videos and taking some of her favorite things, like her favorite outfit, teddy bears, toys, and they have it all locked away in this storage underground. So that when she awakes, then she's able to know who her family was, where she came from, or whatever. And so, at one point, just the older son, and I can't imagine how that was for him to have to deal with that as the other child, or to carry that weight, you know what I'm saying? Or, it almost makes me wonder, like, does he feel like he have to try to continue this research and all of this? And, I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's too bothered to do it, but I just wonder if he doesn't, would there be some guilt there, because he obviously was carrying a lot of weight. Like he even went, he did, I forgot what they call it, but he was a monk for like 2 weeks. And he said he did that to help him kind of like process his feelings and things. So, he's dealing with a lot. And then in the end, he was able to meet one of the scientists that works with freezing people and the hope of one day bringing them back. And so one of the things that they discussed was that if the possibility is ever there, that his sister, and her name was Ines. Ines would not come back with her memory and her same personality, her memories and her same personality. And for the brother, his name was what was his name? Matrix. And so for Matrix, his thing was like, well, she's not able to come back with her memories and her personalities. That's not really her then. It will no longer be her. And because the way the scientists explain it, like, so when they freeze the body, they have to be dehydrated, which means the cells and everything have to be dehydrated. So once they will unthaw the body and kind of bring it back to life, the synapses and all that, they won't make those same connections. And therefore, the memories and the personality will no longer be there. And also, I picked this up, that it's more so the freezing of the brain and not the entire body. Because at one point he says that once they bring the brain back to life, then it's about finding a body to put it into. At least that's kind of how I took it in. So I just thought it was all pretty interesting, and just to see that process and why a family chose it. I don't think I would have, and this is not to judge them, I just don't think I would have, but it's interesting to see their journey and their thoughts about that. And then even at the end of the documentary, they had another baby girl that they also called Ines. I think they called her Ines. Kind of like maybe an Ines the second or Ines Jr. And so they were kind of saying that they feel like, although this is not a replacement for their first baby girl, that this could be a reincarnation of their baby girl. Oh, excuse me, y'all. But anyway, if you are like into all that kind of stuff, like science, just healthcare, just, it's a really good thing to watch. Like, I felt like it just opened my mind to a lot of different things and just made me aware of just all that process dealing with freezing people in the hopes that one day they can be brought back to life or whatever. So anyway, yeah, if you're into that, definitely watch it. I would say that it's a good documentary to watch or whatever. And so yeah, sorry y'all. Oh, felt like my nose about to run. So, but yeah, that one was a good one. Hope Frozen and Quest to Live Twice. I just think about, like, if that possibility ever does happen and Ines is able to be brought back, you know, I just think about how that may be for her, you know, to be in a world without anyone, you know, like your whole family has already gone and left before you, because, you know, like they said, it's not going to happen in their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And so to be here left alone, and then not even as an adult, like this is a child. I think she was just 2, you know, or just about to be 2 or something around that. And so, yeah, I just kind of think about that, you know. But again, at this point, the scientist was just like, I think he said like a 0.1% chance of it ever happening. But yeah, that was a good one. That one was a good one. So check it out, especially if you're into that kind of stuff. So the next one was the Volcano Rescue from Wakari. All right, that one was also on Netflix. And again, it was another documentary about the eruption, the volcano Wakari, which is on Wakatan. I don't know. I think it's Wakatani or something like that. I don't know. It's over in New Zealand, okay? Look, these words here. But anyway, so apparently it's a volcano that is an island all of itself, meaning the volcano actually is down in the water and only the tip of the volcano sticks out of the water, which, so maybe trying to give y'all a little visual here. So let's say this is the water line right here. So under this would be your ocean. Then use this. This would be the tip of the volcano, right? Okay. And so this, what you see, would be the island itself, like the tip of the volcano. And all of this is water. And so, yeah, I can't really just say that I have ever seen a volcano. I've visited volcanoes before, like in Hawaii, but I've never been to an underground, and just one that rated as an island. You know, when I think of island, I'm thinking of a landmass, you know, and not the tip of a volcano. But yeah, so, but it's walkable and all that, and you can get to the center and you can like see the steam and all that. And so people do that. They trek up to they take a boat out to the island where the volcano exists, and they trek up to the center of the volcano. They're able to look down in it if they want to. They take photos and then they trek back. So it's like an excursion, really. So this documentary follows a particular day where the mountain erupted, and people were on the island. And so this was a typical day as far as, like I said, it was an excursion. There was a company that took people out, took them up to the center, brought them back, and that was it. So like, there were people, like there were Americans, there were people off the cruise ship, there were people that just lived there. Like it was just a mixture of people there. And so they would get on a boat to take them over to the island, which was like, I think they said like a 2-hour boat ride, or you could do a helicopter, which was like a 45-minute ride. Okay, I'm kind of just guessing now, but I'm thinking that's what they said. It's been a minute since I've seen this. So anyway, just to kind of give you an idea of once you get to the emergency part of it all. So that particular day, there were 2 boats that went out. And then shortly after, the helicopter took some people. And so they went over and they noticed that at the center of the volcano, at the eye, that there was white steam coming out, which usually means that there's been an eruption or there's about to be an eruption. And so first group had went up to the top, looked, came back, and they were on the boat heading back to the shore. The second group was there, and they went up, and their tour guide told them they couldn't stay long just because it started to look, I guess, unsafe. And so they were headed back when the volcano just erupted. And you get like, we see some like the live footage, like some people were recording. You know how everybody's just quick to break out their cameras. And, oh y'all, it just looked horrible. Like the smoke just looked, the smoke dust. It just looked so ominous. Like, I just can't even imagine. And so the people that were stuck on the island got burned very badly, and mostly it was just due from the steam. And so, oh yeah, when I say this is definitely a good one to watch. Just to hear some of the personal accounts of that day. And I don't even really remember hearing this like in the news. Do you all? Like, because I'm like, where was I when this happened? Like, I don't remember it at all. And I'm thinking it was, don't let me lie, y'all. I don't want to lie to you when this happened, but I don't remember it. I don't remember hearing anything about it. So anyway, so there was one boat that were safely gone. Like I said, they had started back across the water when they saw it. And I think that's probably how we got most of the footage, were from the people on that boat, you know, taking, you know, videos and pictures of it with their camera phones. And then there were some people that were already back. I think the helicopter group had made it back to the edge where they were about to leave, but they hadn't yet. And so the person that was in charge of their group told them to run for the water. And then the people, and I think the helicopter, of course, did not hold as many people as the boats did. So that was only just a handful. And then the other boatload of people, most of them were up near the tip of the volcano when it erupted, y'all. And I think it was like 20 people that didn't make it. And they talked about, oh yeah, it was a lot. They ended up talking about their rescue efforts. to save the people that they could. They immediately sent out helicopters. They had one kind of just patrolling up in the sky, trying to keep those that were down, that had actually went down on the ground, to get any other survivors, just to keep them abreast of what was going on, because apparently there's, your cell phones don't work out there. There's just nothing. So, yeah, that was, I just can't even imagine being on a vacation, thinking you're just going to have fun. And I just think about myself, because had I been presented with that opportunity, oh, that most definitely would have been me. I'm like such the thrill seeker. Like, I definitely would have been like, a volcano. Oh, yeah. Oh, we get to go all the way to the tip. Oh, yeah. Like, that would have so been me. You know what I'm saying? Wow. It's such a tragic, but yeah, definitely go watch that. Watch the events of that day, how they unfolded. They take you literally through the beginning of the excursion to the rescue efforts. You get to hear some of the people talk about their personal experiences, some of the people that were there. And there was this one guy, I mean, he lost his entire family, his mom, dad, and his sister. And I think he was the one that kind of was wanting to do this more so than the others. And oh, it's just tragic. And the only reason I think he said he survived was because he said he had given up at one point, and then something in him just said, no, go for help. And so he moved. He kept moving, even though he was burned very badly. He kept moving. He said it was a struggle, but he did. And he was found and rescued. And yeah. And even when you see the people that have made it, like there were actually, because I think you're going to get some interviews from people that were on their first boat that definitely were safe. But then you get people that were actually still on the island when it erupted. And you can see just the lasting effects, like the burns. And, oh, yeah. That was something else. But, it was definitely interesting. I would say check that one out. But just know that it's gonna be kind of difficult. It's gonna be kind of difficult to hear some things. So but yeah. Okay, let's see what's next. The Best of Me. Okay, so that was a movie on Netflix too. So it followed this lady Amanda and this guy Dawson. They grew up together. They were high school sweethearts. And so fast forward to their adult life, they're not together. Amanda has married. She has children. Well, she has a child. She had two. And she lost her little girl to cancer. And I think it was leukemia or something. And anyways, and then Dawson, he's still just kind of living a single life. Like he lost his family, but not in death. His family, they were just very toxic. They were, abusive towards him, trying to beat him up, talk to him any kind of way. And so when he was in high school, he ran away. He came to live with this guy named Tuck. And they formed a special bond. So between that, he and Amanda started dating. So therefore, then Amanda made a special bond with Tuck as well. And so end up Amanda and Dawson stopped dating because Dawson broke things off. He ended up going to jail. And he didn't want Amanda to wait for him because he knew that she would. And he knew that that just wasn't fair to her. And the reason he went to jail was because it was their prom night. And so, you know, Tuck had seen him off to the prom. Him and his cousin, which was like his best friend. It was a guy cousin. And so, as soon as Dawson had left the house, well, Dawson's dad and brother, they all came to the house where Tuck was at. And they beat Tuck up really bad. And it just so happened that Dawson had left his flowers that he had for Amanda at the house. So he was like, yo, we need to go back to the house so I can get Amanda's corsage. And so when they went back to the house to get the corsage, they saw Tuck was beat up. And so Dawson knew right away that who did it. And so he was super mad because he had really grown to love Tuck. Because he had just told Tuck, you know, I love you. You know, you treat me like nobody has ever treated me. And Tuck was like, you're my son, you know. So they really had this special bond. So Dawson was mad. And so he takes a gun, drives over to his dad's house. And the cousin's like, I'm not finna let you go by yourself. So the cousin jumps in the truck with Dawson. And they drive over there. And so it all ended up happening so quick. So Dawson and his dad were tussling. And well, the gun goes off. And the bullet hits the cousin. And the cousin didn't make it. And so Tuck went to jail behind that. So mind you, they're in high school. And so he ended up breaking things off with Amanda and refused to see her because he knew that she would keep coming up to that jail like she had been doing every day. And he knew that she would wait on him. And he was just like, you know, that's not fair to you. So fast forward, they're all adults. Like I said, Amanda's gone on. She's married, has a family. And Dawson has just been leading like this single life. Can I just say, Dawson is such a beautiful name. That's what I named my son. And I get this a lot. People say, did you do that from Dawson's Creek? Like, literally, no. I have never seen that show a day in my life. But God actually dropped that in my spirit to name my son Dawson. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So, fast forward. Tuck ends up passing away. And so, they both go back to their hometown for the services, and Tuck has left them a will, and he's written them both letters. And so Tuck had like this house off on a lake. It wasn't his regular home. It was kind of like I don't know, just a lake house that you could just go visit go up to visit sometimes or whatever. So they end up, at first, Amanda is really cold towards Dawson because, you know, she's still harboring feelings from when they were back in high school. Like, you just cut things off of me and you really just, you know, of course, they didn't really get to discuss the full reason because Dawson was in the jailhouse or whatever. And so she's still kind of being short, and Dawson is just like still googly-eyed over her. And long story short, y'all, they end up like making out. And so Amanda goes home back to her husband. She's just like, you know, I haven't been living. This isn't me. I'm not happy. Yada, yada, yada. And the husband, you know, is just really trivializing things for her as far as like what she's saying. Like, he's just not very present. You know what I'm saying? He's there, but he's not there, if that makes sense. And so she's just not been happy. And Dawson just made her realize, like, I'm really missing this. I want more. I need attention. You know, I need somebody who's here. And so end up, they get a tragedy. So their son was in an accident and he needs a heart transplant. All right. So at the same time this happens, of course, she's freaking out because she's like, I can't lose another child. Same time this is happening, Dawson is he's driving. He's headed towards the train track. And the little arms on the track closed. So he can't pass, right? And the train is coming back. Well, this truck pulls up behind him. And wait a minute. No, let me go back. So the arms are starting to close. The train hasn't come yet. The arms are starting to close. And this truck kind of zooms up behind him. And I was like, oh. they finna push him into the train. And then he's gonna give his heart to her son. But not, that ain't what happened. So the truck comes up and then it ends up at the last minute swerving around him and going across the train tracks just as the arms fully closed and the train starts to come. So while he's sitting there waiting for the train to come, another truck comes up behind him. And y'all, by this time, the train has passed. So the people get out the truck, and it's his dad and his brother and other relatives, like 3 or 4 of them. And so on the other side of the track is the other truck of people that had came up. So they got him cornered pretty much. And so they end up beating him and taking his life. And so that was that. And so back to Amanda, her son ends up being saved. He got a heart transplant. He's going on about his life. And so then a year later, he calls, he tells his mom, Mom, you know how they say I could find out who my donor was after a year? Well, it was this guy named Dawson from your hometown. Do you know him? And the mom is just like, wow, So in the end, he did live on through her son. Her first true love lived on through her son. Yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I kind of like them sappy little movies. Like I said, some of it was predictable. Like when Tuck got beat up and Dawson found out and he grabbed that gun. I was just like, something bad about to happen. And it's probably going to be to their cousin, because the cousin kept insisting, I'm going to go with you. And Dawson was like, no, don't go. You don't need to come. And so, yeah, it did, like I said, with the whole Amanda's son receiving Dawson's heart, like, yeah, but it was pretty good. It really was a pretty good movie. You should check that one out. You should. The Best of Me. Yeah. But that was kind of the premise. So yeah. All right, y'all. So other thing on Netflix, Harry and Meghan. So I watched the rest of that. And I'm not going to go into detail. Like I said, it just kind of followed their lives from when they started dating up to present day and the things that they have dealt with, especially within the social media. And all I can say, my biggest takeaway after watching that was that Harry is trying to heal his pain of his mother's death by saving Meghan. He's never healed from that. And he's trying to do that, like I said, by having a show of saving his wife. And I really think that Harry needs to, and I don't know if he is or not, but he needs to work through that. He needs to work through those feelings, because obviously he very much has lingering feelings. And not to say that you will ever get over your parents' death. I can imagine you don't ever, you know what I'm saying? But you learn to cope and deal. And I just think that, yeah, he's definitely, because like so much through the documentary, that's what I would hear. This is what my mother felt. This is what my mother went through. Meghan is like my mother, So it's almost like he's viewing her somewhat as his mother, and he's trying to save her, if that makes sense. And it's just like, I get they've gone through similar things, but you still need to be able to separate the two. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that the things that Megan has dealt with has been fair. I totally don't think that. And I think that they do have to do what's best for the two of them. And I will say that has taken courage, especially to break away from the Institute like that. But at the same time, you can't save your mom, Harry. You can't. You can't. You need to heal that side of you, that part of you, and focus on continuing to build with your family and not seeking to save what you can't. So that's that. That's all I got on that. Let's see. Yep, last one. Y'all, The Best Man, the final chapters. It was on Peacock. Y'all, it was guts. Guts with a T. Oh, Nia Long, Morris Chestnut, Tay Diggs, like, damn. Fine. Do you hear me? Fine. All of them were looking so good. Like, I was like, okay, I see y'all are well taken care of. I'm gonna say this one is a definite must-see, especially if you have already followed from the beginning. Because now I want to know more. Like, they can't say this the final chapters. But yeah, so Shelby and Quentin, they finally made it official. It was just so much to unpack with the whole. This was a mini series, y'all. So it was just so much to unpack in all the episodes. But just kind of like a quick overview. So yeah, like I was saying, Shelby and Quentin, they finally made it official. They got married. And y'all, it kind of, the first thing it made me think of was Dwayne and Whitley. You know, when Whitley was about to marry old boy and Dwayne interrupted the wedding. It's like, baby, I love you. That's immediately what I thought about. Yeah, it was that type of vibe. So Quentin was about to get married to this girl named Zia Mora. And yeah, Shelby kind of just braided the whole wedding, and they end up getting married instead. Right? He also found out that Kennedy is his real daughter. Let's see, I'm giving you highlights. Let's see. Lance, you know, he just done turned into a hoe out here in these streets. But when he was on the island for Quentin's wedding, he met a young lady. But the young lady was engaged as well. Or, yeah, she was engaged. And so, but it was something about her that he really hooked on to. He zoned in on. And he was seeing her differently than all the other people he was sleeping with, just here and there. You know what I'm saying? Well, he really wasn't no here and there. I might have a different one or different ones every day. He was really out of these streets, home and hard. So then, let me see. Oh, his son came out, LJ. He came out as binary. Is it binary? Non-binary? Then it's non-binary. And so Lance is just trying to figure that all out. You know, he wasn't accepting his first. And then LJ, let me not say them, LJ, yeah. So LJ would go by pronouns, they, them, their. And so LJ ended up going missing for a couple of days. And so they were thinking that he self-harmed himself because he wasn't being accepted by his father. But they end up finding him safe and sound. But that kind of really put fear into Lance's heart. And I think there was a turnaround point of him accepting his son for who he was. And what else? Harper's first book, Unfinished Business. He got that turned into a movie. And yeah, Merch was not happy about the way his character was portrayed in the movie. Um, and so he started taking up like this boxing. I don't really know if it was boxing or what would you call it? Like taekwondo? I don't know. Like something like that. Let me just say some fighting. Okay. Some organized fighting. That's what I'm going to call it. Because I don't know what you call it. And well, I guess it could be boxing. We'll say boxing. We'll stick with boxing. But anyway. And baby, that thing was lighting that man up, baby. He was taking all his aggressions out on that man. And he was killing it too. He was down. He was in there. He was in there. Let me see. There were marriage issues for Merch and Candace, and as well as Harper and Robin. They all had marriage issues through the series. Quentin had a heart attack. I said, well, drinking and taking those little blue pills, that will do it to you. So you just kind of found him trying to come to terms with his health and, you know, not being able to do the things that he used to do. And Shelby kind of trying to, I guess, mother him. It's how he saw it, you know, but she was really just trying to get him to do better because she wanted a man around, you know what I'm saying? Lance ends up getting his woman in the end. The one that he met on the island when Quentin was about to get married. Harper ends up winning his Pulitzer that Jordan had predicted all those years ago. Oh, Jordan and Harper end up, you know, crossing boundaries at the points where not Candace, but Robin was just like, look, I already know what's up. I already know. I'm done. You're not showing me attention, and it's all about you, and I'm out. I want this marriage to end. And she picked her daughter up and herself and moved to Africa. I said, what they? But they were wrong. Jordan and Harper were both wrong. Like, unfinished business for sure. You should have left that ish in the past. You know, I was just looking, you know, I love the dynamics of having a friend group like that. But it's just too many. I done mess with you done mess with me, and yet I'm with somebody else different in this friend group. It's just too much of that within there. Like, But anyway, let me see. The movie, well, not a movie because it was a series. So it's just a lot of different things everybody was dealing with. Let me see. Let me just kind of go through all the characters. So, let's start with Harper. He was okay. He got the movie deal. He was wondering if he should do that or not. Then he and Robin started having marital problems. They went to counseling. And Harper just, he don't get it. He don't get it. But Robin ended up leaving with their daughter. So he was just trying to pick his life up and figure things out. Robin, like I said, she wasn't feeling seen or heard by her husband, Harper. And so she eventually was like, man, F this, I'm finna follow my dreams. And so she picked up and moved to Africa. Let's see, Lance, he was hoeing around, didn't have a woman. He finally found the love. He was dealing with, like I said, LJ, and how to just accept that his son was, you know, not how he wanted him to be. Let's see, Merch, he was dealing with that kind of not being good enough, not being strong enough, he got Karen'd and he felt guilty about not doing anything in the moment. And then, like I said, his portrayal in the movie, like all of those kind of things just kind of weighed down on him. And then Candace had went back to school, so he was also taking on more of the nurturing role within the family, which, most people or a lot of people may deem to be like a woman's job, which I think is not right. People do roles according to what works for their family, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so those were what he was dealing with. Candace went back to school and she was intent on doing this writing, be the best writer she could. She ended up changing advisor because her advisor just was not trying to give her a chance, and she chose this black male advisor, and he ended up trying to come on to her inappropriately in his office. And so she was dealing with that. She didn't tell Murch about that at all at first. And eventually she did, and she went on to write an article, and other women came out about it, and it made the front page of the new magazine. And so, okay, who else haven't I touched on? Oh, Jordan, workaholic, not taking care of herself, still fooling around with Harper when she shouldn't. She doesn't really have a love life. She ends up getting back with is it Demetrius, I think, or somebody she had already dated, but they end up not working out in the long run. Quentin was getting married to the Zilmora, and it was really much for show versus for how he felt. He ends up professing his love for Shelby. They get married, but he's also feeling some type of way about not ever knowing that Kennedy was his child. And so Kennedy still doesn't call him dad. And so he's kind of been, you see that as being a thing for him throughout the series. And then, like I said, he ends up having a heart attack and having to change some of his habits to prevent himself from having another heart attack. And he's just not feeling it. And then Shelby is just Shelbying all through the series. I think I done hit out everybody. But yeah, but towards the end, it was just like everybody found their own. Like Jordan, she learned to live for herself, to make sure she's giving herself self-care. And that included not being the woman that Quentin got under to get over Robin. And which, in some kind of way I thought was a little foul, because the whole time he with her, you was okay for being down with the get down. But then as soon as he up and single and grieving, now he's like, no, not me, But no, I'm glad that she did not fall into that. She shouldn't in the first place anyway, but she did. And let's see. So Murch and Candace, they end up working through their issues. Of course, I've already said Harper and Robin didn't. Robin end up moving away. Quentin and Shelby, they're good. Kennedy finally started calling him dad. He had another heart attack scare. The second time it wasn't a heart attack, but it was just like once you have one, you kind of just be anxious. So any little thing, it gets magnified that this is what it could be. And so it's kind of one of those situations. And so Kennedy was there when it happened. And so she was just like, Dad, you know what I'm saying? So it just kind of ended with everyone living in their truths or finding their way to it. So I just, like I said, I love the friendship and how they were able to support each other through the good and the bad. And y'all, the end and the outtakes, that was the best part for me. I loved it. It was so funny. But anyway, yeah, definitely a must-see. Check it out. If you haven't already, definitely check. Yeah, matter of fact, let's get in the chat and talk about this. Because, baby, know it can't be me. I know it cannot be me. But was Candace her just horrible? The entire series. Like literally, like the first episode or two, like when they went to the island for Quincy's wedding. Well, no, they hadn't even gone to the island yet. I was just like, what is going on? And so I was just knew when they went to the island, baby was gonna judge it up or whatever, baby. She still had that tight ass wig on. I was like, oh my gosh. And by the end of the series, it got even worse. Oh goodness. But anyway, oh, I needed this, y'all. I needed to just get my mind off some things and come here with y'all and have me a good kiki. But anyways, y'all tell me what y'all thought about everything I mentioned. Tell me what y'all are watching. Give me some other things to get into. So I'm kind of starting, what is it called? The glass something. Anyway, it's like a murder mystery, real deal. So I have that to talk about Friday and some other things. Gonna watch Matilda with my son. And I started watching Riches on Amazon Prime. Gotta finish that too. So yeah, tell me what y'all are watching. Yeah, I think that's it. So anyway, I'm about to head out there. Until next time, y'all please pray for me. I'm gonna pray for you all, and we will watch God change things. And I just want to say, rest in peace, Andre. My loves you. Peace out, y'all.